Hi, Amy, nice seeing you. And all the others.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you too.
Katrina, Christopher, Faisal, Stella, Paula, David, Tom, Colin, Nikhil, George. George, how are you? I didn't see a lot of videos. George, tell me. You have been in the Life Accelerator. I saw you. I met you first time with Dan Pena in the Curzon My Fair cinema.
That's right, yeah. How you doing?
Good, and you? I didn't see you in the BizEc. I didn't follow you.
No,
so how are you?
I'm good. I'm just lurking around here.
Successful doing? Did you do some sale?
No. I'm just here as a community assistant with Lisa May.
Sorry for that.
No worries.
Isn't that fancy? We have community assistants now helping us out. Listen, everyone, thank you so much for showing up on the call. I am going to mute everyone at this time in preparation for Mr. Brian Rose.
Good evening, everybody. How are we doing? Can you hear me? Yes? Let me see those thumbs up. All right, folks, this is Keynote call number 7. I hate to say it, but it's the last one. How many people are going to miss this? Thumbs up if you are. Thumbs down if you're just totally sick of me. Come on, Faisal, you can tell me the truth. Tom, you can be honest. You're really going to miss us. Flip, really? And all these crazy assignments. Helen, you're going to miss us? I believe Helen will miss us, I think. All right, folks. Well, look, this is Module 7. As I said on Sunday, I really strongly suggest that you get back in there for webinar 2, 3, or 4. How many people have either webinar scheduled tonight or tomorrow or Thursday? Can I see thumbs up? Show them up. Patrick, thank you. Christoph, Faisal, David, keep those thumbs up. Reinhold, all right, that's great. Raul, you got it. Sanham, okay, great. I got San, you got a great looking Facebook picture that promotes your webinar. So that's great stuff, great marketing. James is in. Okay, good. You know, we've got a limited time left, and I just want you guys to I want you to get that dopamine hit when you really get that critical mass of students where you're like, wow, that's money in my account. More importantly, there's people that want to believe in you, that want to learn from you, and it'll give you a chance to execute that first class. Does that make sense with what I'm saying? Because once you do what I'm doing, I'm telling you, it's infectious. And when you really change people's lives, it really is a game changer, and you'll really see what this whole thing is all about. And so that's why I'm really pushing for people to go. I've already seen people in Team Rose getting sales and getting more sales. I'm telling you, the second webinar, it's like the second time you do a lot of things, folks. You're much better at it, if you know what I'm saying. So do second, third, and fourth time. You're just going to get better and better and better, more comfortable. You get to where you really actually enjoy getting on a webinar. It's thrilling. Again, there's money involved, and you can change the whole game. So that's what I really want you to focus on. Look, Module 7 has a lot of stuff in there. I realize I'm asking you to do a lot of different metrics. So just try to get this webinar done in the next day, 2, or Thursday, and then start in on the rest of Module 7, which I want to talk about today, which is about partnerships. It's about looking at your funnel. It's about planning the next 6 months with your teammates. We want to keep you on this call format where you continue going forward with your goals and with your teammates. How does that sound? Good? Okay, good. And on Sunday, I'm going to be announcing the team leaders for each group, unless Lisa's beat me to it. And so that we're going to be nominating 2 or 3 people that we're just going to ask to be the ones that are responsible for keeping these calls going in your group, because we want you to continue to be successful in the next 12 months. We've even got a call scheduled in the next 12 months so we can talk about the year in review. So we're trying to set up a platform to keep you guys going. Of course, it's going to be more on you now because we're not going to be with there every single week, but still you've got an amazing support group and you know exactly what to do. So this week isn't over. We're upping the point totals one more time. So this is for all the marbles. We're saying gold prize is getting 300 points, silver 200, and bronze 100. Again, the winning team has a whole load of prizes that we're giving out. So does bronze and so does silver. And the winning member of the winning team, we're also going to blast out on our email and basically send you as many leads as possible so you can just jumpstart your business. Also, the winning gold medal team, We're going to be promoting your businesses on social media as well. So there's still a lot of things to do here. So that is going to be the total percentage of everything in the module completed by Saturday. We're actually going to do it till Saturday midnight, so you have an extra day there to get these things done for this final competition. The prize for this week is Dan Ariely's Success Secrets. This guy is fascinating when it comes to understanding human behavior, why people do things, even how people look at money. It's a really interesting way that he does that. I think actually might even help you. So that is the piece for this week. Before we get started and before I give you some feedback on how to be successful entrepreneurs going forward, because I've seen a lot of people come to this point, I want to ask you for something. I know I've been pushing you the last few weeks, but I've got an ask, and that is this. At the end of each course, I always ask people to give me reviews. Now, luckily, all of you have written blogs, right? Let me see people that have written blogs. Yes? How many have written blogs? Yeah. So you already know the game, right? You know how to do it. You probably got a Medium account and all that stuff. So I'm asking for a review of the London Real Business Accelerator. Would you do that for me? Would you do that, please? Chris Albert is going to post a bunch of previous reviews in the Facebook group so you can get an idea. It doesn't need to be massively long. 300 or 400 words would be great. If you could pick up your phone and do a 2-minute video that you can post on YouTube and embed, that would be great too. And if you could just post it on Medium, that would be great too. And again, this is simple, Chris, but also this is something I want to teach in this module, because Chris Albert started this whole thing off back in the day by writing a review about the Business Accelerator. And I'll be honest, folks, he spent some time on it. He didn't just bust it out in 10 minutes. He spent some time on it. He put a great cover photo and he said, why this course changed my life. And I ended up tweeting that and retweeting that over 100 times over the past 18 months and have sent countless numbers of our followers over to Warrior Soul that have probably bought apparel from Chris, bought his courses, because it's a great piece of media that I love putting out because it makes us look good and it sends him tons of leads. So it's a great idea to see what a blog can do. Does that make sense? Okay, good. So get a feel for what that's like. Chris is going to post a bunch of different blogs on there and reviews so you can see what it's like. But it's actually something I want to talk about this module because it's a great way to reach out to influencers and to improve your brand. And I'm going to take the top 25 articles that you write for me and review, and I'm going to tweet them out to 140,000 followers. So, and I'm going to do it multiple times. So that should just build your brand awareness. It'll build your Twitter account. People can follow you. And if they read the article and they like your vibe, they're immediately going to bounce over to your website, which you'll put at the bottom of the page. So this will help you hopefully just give you a whole new funnel of members. How does that sound? Good? Okay, good. And this will also get you in the practice of doing this. And it's basically what we do every week, but we create a video episode for the guests. But you're doing this in terms of a blog. It's a great way to reach out to an influencer. And I'm going to talk this week about how you can do that to make a first point of content. But it's also a great way to get tons of free social media boosting from influencers. And so you're going to get a direct feel on London Real today. And again, if the video is great, I'll probably upload it and put it on Facebook as well. Just make sure you have your website links there so I can link back to you, and I can even CC you on the Facebook page as well. So that's what I'm asking. If you could really do that, I would appreciate it. And that's the ask for this week. How are people feeling right now as far as everything? How are they feeling? Someone stick their hand up with how we're doing. Stella, tell me, how are you feeling with everything, with the webinar, with this module? Is it
it was really an unbelievable roller coaster, and I had really downs, but also really high. So I'm really excited. I found my passion, and I really want to go through with it. I'm so grateful for everything.
Okay, well, that's awesome, Stella. Thank you so much for saying that. You know, on Sunday, I want to give some real final thoughts about how to move forward, because it's really a mindset from here on out. And this is the truth, folks. You all kind of know what to do. And because of this whole crazy accountability system, you've actually done so much hard work, it's not even funny. I mean, you've done more in the last 7 weeks than most businesses and entrepreneurs I've met that have done in 7 months or even 3 years. They just haven't actually done it because each one of these things is so painful to stop, right? Let's be honest. The 10 blog in 10 day challenge probably wouldn't have done it. The landing page, it probably would have been complicated. The 3-part video series, the product, the webinar, it just goes on and on, but you've done it now. So now it's just about keeping it going and reaching out to the network, which I want to talk about tonight. This is the easiest win for any of you that have sold something on a webinar. And so that's why I'm pushing for everybody to try to get that first sale or that first few sales. Because once you have that, you have a proven track record that you can bring to an influencer and literally 10x your reach in a heartbeat. And I want to talk about that tonight. So before I get started, I just want to make a few other comments that I noticed with people. How many people here feel a little weird about their relationship with money? Just throw a hand up here. It's kind of a general question, but just throw it up. Like, okay, I don't know about my relationship with money. Reinhold, tell me about your relationship with money. How do you feel about charging people for money, selling, those kinds of things?
Yeah, I feel I have my difficulties. I hope I have a good connection. I don't know whether you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good. So I was always in my life a helper's personality, like a hard person, instead of taker's personality, a helper's and hard person. So a giver's personality. So I still have huge issues with that on my main business, for example. I learn more and more to use affirmations to ask for the money I'm worth. And it's going better, but I still have some difficulties. And I'm really training hard for a few weeks now, especially as I'm a graduate of the Life Accelerator. I learned some more techniques, like really implementing affirmations. So it's going better, but I still have some issues, but I'm working on that, honestly.
Okay, so it still feels a little strange to you to ask people for money. Is that something that's still a hang up?
Yes, but it's better. For example, in the first webinar, I felt great because I knew about the worth. I'm even delivering in the webinar. I gave some techniques where I really know from my story and my history that I told in my webinar that this is really an outcome over my last kind of 3-4 years that has a worth to the audience. So I'm feeling more and more safe just going over from introducing about the story and everything, and to just say, and now we have the sales part. I just introduce you. You can even go deeper in these topics with, and I felt great last Friday. I felt great.
Okay, good. That's good. I mean, that's good. And the transition is important. And if you just keep thinking, I'm adding value, then it's a great way just to get used to that. How many people here feel like they still have a kind of a strange relationship when it comes to asking for money or with money? Can I just see hands just so I can get into you? Okay, not many people. Helen's like, what are you talking about? Let me see who else. Yane is good with it. Okay, Francisco a little bit. All right, Alan. Okay, look, it's just something I want to address and just kind of leave you with. The reason I stress this one number, which is revenues over anything, is because I've seen so many people that can change the world. They've got so many ideas. There's a lot of people like a heart person, like Reinhold explains himself, or musicians, which are creative people. And they always say, I'm not good in business. And they just shut themselves down right away. And the problem is without revenues, you just can never take this to the next level. And again, I had a guy named Luis Ramos in our last Business Accelerator, and I think I mentioned him before. He had tried to help kids become sports people for most of his life, set up a nonprofit because his relationship with money was so bad. And it ruined his business. It ruined one of his marriages because he was basically dragging himself down in the hole while he tried not to make money. Does that make sense? And so once he took the course, he said, Brian, the single biggest takeaway from this course wasn't everything you taught me. It was me getting over the fact that when I charge money, it actually lets me help more children. It let me help more parents. It lets me empower more people, period. It's not about greed. It's not about taking something. It's about adding value to someone's life and making their life better through that transaction. And again, I just have to repeat that over and over and over again to you because that's what you're doing here. And the revenues will help you scale. If you're stressed out, still working 2 jobs and trying to run this business, it's going to be very hard. But if you really get this revenue piece down, you can really open up and scale. And that's the only reason I can even teach you today is because we focused on revenues from the beginning and we stopped focusing on YouTube subscribers, which quite honestly, we were focusing on for the first 3 years, right? And that got me alone in a room, stressed out is where it got me, which is I know where a lot of you are now. So I just really want to focus on that. Okay? Does that make sense? And again, sometimes it's just fake it till you make it. Try every webinar when you make that transition. When you take those 5 students or 10 students through your course, you'll start to see like, wow, actually, this really makes a difference. And my free product consumers would never have done this and changed their lives. And think about something you paid for in the past. Maybe it was college tuition, or maybe it was something like that where it actually made you take action. And always remember that when it comes to that point. Okay, I hope I made that point there. I just think it's really, really important. Going forward, your success is really going to depend on you continuing to do MVPs and start before you're ready and trying new things. It's not necessarily going to be about going back and improving the landing page and making that low-cost product better. Sure, you're going to make it better, but I need you to focus on the prime offering as soon as possible. And I'll talk about that at the end of the call. I need you to go ahead and do things that are uncomfortable as soon as possible. I need you to reach out to partners you think are way out of your league as soon as possible. Thank you, Patrick. I appreciate that. I need you to offer revenue shares to people when you're like, Brian, I only have $200 worth of revenues. Okay, but 50% of what they can bring you, which could be 100 students. Imagine that. 100 students, even at a price point of $27, is $2,700. If you offer an influencer $1,500, they actually might return your phone call. So, and that's only with 100 students. So I need you to go ahead and act as if and continue doing the things in this course. I try to do something scary here every week or out of our comfort zone. And as Dan Pena told me, he said, all successful businesses take risk, period. So I just need you to keep doing that. All right. And you'll have the support group of your teams to keep that going, but it's just something you have to get used to really doing. I want to talk about JV partnerships later. Again, lead with reward with these partners. I think the simple, most obvious thing for you all to do is find an influencer within your micro niche or related niche with people like your audience and reach out to them quite simply and say, how would you like to make $2,000? Because that's what you can make if you partner with me and I split the revenues with you and we get 200 people to sign up. And I'll cut you that check. All I need for you to do is mention it. Maybe we do a joint webinar where they come on too with their audience. And for every lead that signs up, I give you a check for half the revenues. That would get my attention. Does that make sense for everybody? And again, if you've sold one, you can sell more. And that influencer will skyrocket your business 10x more than all of your social media posts, more than all of your vlogs will do. That can really put you on the map. And now, unlike all of the other people that contact them on a daily basis, you have a product that can scale with revenues. And so you can have something to offer them. And that's going to be the biggest way to lead with reward. So I'm going to talk about that. One of the bonus modules we're going to be giving at the end of this course is Facebook Ad Mastery. And it's a great tool, but I just want you to, I want to say this. Until you have a webinar that converts, until you have a funnel that converts that I'm going to talk about tonight, please don't spend money on Facebook ads. Okay? Does that make sense? It's the lazy businessman's solution, quote unquote, to no traffic. It's the lazy entrepreneur's solution to not hustling, to not JVing. And a lot of people think I'll just dump some money on Facebook, I'll boost that post, and it ends up being money, as I used to call around here, thrown down the rat hole. You never see it again, and we never know what happens to it, right? And so that's why we're going to stress the funnel more than anything with what happens here, okay? And look, those are some of my thoughts. I would love to hear Chris's thoughts on this because he's seen so many courses. He's also done all of this himself, created MVPs, done e-commerce, sold digital products. And so Chris, curious to get your thoughts here.
Hey guys, so everything Brian's saying here, you got to listen to him. I remember back when I came into the Business Accelerator, and I'll be honest with you guys, I was cocky as hell when I was in the Business Accelerator because I honestly earned a lot of money during that time period and using the techniques Brian taught me. But I got even more cocky. I would go beyond and I would start to get into some of these Facebook ads and things like that. And you know what? I earned some money from it, but a really funny thing happened after I earned some money from it, and it was called the presidential election of 2016. The ad costs went through the roof, meaning like I got no exposure whatsoever because I'm a U.S. military veteran company, and you know, all these guys were also getting marketed to by Trump, by Hillary, and literally almost destroyed my business. I remember I was sending emails to Brian while I'm sitting here. I'm like, Brian, I'm freaking out. I don't know what's going on with everything. I'm dying right now. And he said, get back to basics. So how did I remedy that? JVs. And I can't tell you enough. You've got to get it into your head. You need to form JVs as soon as possible. And don't just form JVs. Like Brian said, you need to give a healthy percentage on these JVs. Right now, I will give 75% or more on a JV. You know why? Because I'm not after that $27 that I'm going to get from it. That's not what's going to make me a millionaire. What's going to make me a millionaire is the 1,000 emails they can bring to my email list. What's going to make me a millionaire is those leads, being able to start new relationships with new people, bringing them into my funnel, and then eventually upselling them into something else. Don't go after the quick wins here. You really, the days of just putting up a Facebook post or a YouTube channel and trying to sell somebody on that YouTube video or on that Facebook post are over. You need to be giving things away. You need to be forming JV partnerships. You need to be bringing people into your email list constantly. All these posts you're doing, you need to look at them as lead generating. You know, one of the biggest things that I'm doing for my business right now is, like I said, heavily recruiting people to promote my products. How do I do that? Go back to your competitive analysis. Go look up your competitors. Find out what products they're selling right now, and then do a Google search on those products. See who's promoting those products for them. Go to that influencer that's promoting those products, and then offer them a healthy percentage of your revenues. That's a really, really big tactic. And you know, the other thing about the Business Accelerator, I have to say, the Business Accelerator gave birth to a few other aspects of my business. One of them was my podcast. The way I got forward with my podcast in actually getting influencers to come on and promote my brand was by reaching out to them without fear, reaching out to them and offering them value. Went to Ben Greenfield. I said, hey, Ben, what's going on, man? I know you got a fitness company. Why don't you try talking to my population of thousands of veterans who could use your information about biohacking and making their brains better? Ben Greenfield said, hey, what's up? I'm coming on your podcast, man. Did the same thing with Gary Tobbs, did the same thing with a whole bunch of different people. And I've gotten some amazing influencers to promote my brand, to come on and talk about Warrior Soul, raise my brand, my brand awareness like crazy. And it was all because of what I learned here on the Business Accelerator, a willingness to take things a little bit further. And honestly, and this is the God's honest truth, just a lack of fear of approaching people about things, because the alternative is sitting in your room by yourself, ripping your hair out, wondering why your Facebook ads aren't working, and you know, going down a rabbit hole. Trust this process, trust what Brian's about to tell you, and keep it in your mind. Those JVs are the key.
Awesome stuff. Thank you, Chris. And Ryan will put a message in the chat. They said, what's a JV? Great question. JV is a joint venture. So it's a common term in business where two companies will set up a separate entity, then maybe own 50% of that entity each. And so a JV is a great example. Well, it's a term for, say for example, I was to contact, say I didn't know Tim Ferriss, and I would contact him and say, hey, Tim, I've got this course called the Business Accelerator. I'm sure a big chunk of your audience would love it. If you promote this, for every lead you bring in, I'll give you half of the revenue. So, you know, that's real money. You could make $100,000. If you want to do this with me, all I would need is you to email your email list, do some social media posts, and do a joint webinar with me where you invite your list and we both get on the Zoom call together. You introduce me as the man, and then I take it from there and sell, and then I close. It's that simple. That's what a JV would be. Does that make sense? Yeah. And Chris is so right. So many people go out there and, you know, try to throw money at like Facebook ads and all of these things, or try to build it organically, and you still should do that. But the JV is the single biggest no-brainer. And Chris is right. First of all, two things. 50% of revenue that you wouldn't have normally is not giving away the farm. So do not worry about that, right? I mean, some of you have 5 and 10 student classes. If I could give you a 100 student class, the truth is the extra cost of teaching an extra student is about this much, right? You still send them digital product and video modules, and you send an email to a few more people. Maybe you do a few extra Skype calls, or maybe you reply to a few other messages, but it's not a marginal big cost of increasing. Does that make sense? That's because we productized our IP. There's a whole method to this madness. If you had to do 1 hour consulting as a doctor, a lawyer, as a personal trainer, you could never scale. But we built a product, which means it can scale. Literally, all of you could probably fulfill your product to 1,000 people this week even, right? It's that beautiful. So this can really scale, which is an amazing thing. And so that's what you can approach them with. But the real hidden value here, folks, is this, is that sure, for the 100 people that sign up, you'll be giving 50% of the revenues away, but you'll get an extra 1,000, 5,000 people on your email list that don't buy, that are invited to the webinar. And guess what? You can sell to them for the next 6 months or a year, and those people will buy. And let me tell you something else. For all the people that bought the $27 product, you can sell them your prime offer for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. That's where the real upside is. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I'm telling you, this is an amazing opportunity. It's an incredible way to scale. And I'll talk about some of the ways that I JV. All right. So look, I just want to talk about this module and really get through this. This is, of course, is module 7, launch your business. And we're going to talk about 3 main points, which is, of course, your complete success blueprint. Very, very important. I'm going to go through that. I'm going to talk about your business plan and the road ahead. I want to talk about all these partnerships. And we have 2 bonus modules that I'm going to be sending when you finish module 7, which is how to sell your prime offering. It's a way to close someone on a product that costs between $1,000 and $5,000. Slightly different techniques, very important. You're going to have more questions when it comes to this stuff. And of course, I will give you the Facebook Ad Mastery tool, which shows you how we go ahead and use Facebook for our own ads. So that's what we're looking to do here. And so let's talk about this stuff. First, let's talk about your network map. How many people have sketched out their wet network map? Can I see a hand up, or have started to sketch it out? Anyone? Let me see. Hold this up. Colin? That was a tentative hand. Colin, click in here and tell me, what have you done so far? And how many people do you think are in your network if you had to make a judgment?
Hey, Brian.
Hey.
Yeah, I just started working on it, I think a couple of hours ago, so I'm still busy. But I first thought I didn't have anybody on there. And then I started seeing these weak links and started to grow and grow and grow. So I think I'm starting to get somewhere.
Okay. You know, the weak link is one of the most crucial factors here. How many people understand that concept of the weak link? Do we get that? A little bit. Tim Neal does, not many other people. So the weak link is someone who you wouldn't consider a friend, a family member, and you wouldn't even think they were going to help you. It's kind of the person's like, yeah, I don't know about that. I met them one time. I don't think they would care, right? A lot of you, I bet Helen and Merle, sold to your weak links, right? Merle's in there hitting everybody in her WhatsApp group because she decided to do that. And she sold product probably to people that she never would have thought would have bought her products. And that's why Max Keeling sold his first $3,000 product to the ex-girlfriend of one of his old friends that he had met once. But he talked about pension planning and planning her retirement and finance. And she said, yeah, I like it. So the weak links are crucial. When you start listing all of these contacts down and you start thinking, actually, what might that person have from me? You'll realize that these people have networks, they have friends, they can introduce you to people that can change the game of everything. If you go into LinkedIn, you can see all of these different second and third level connections these people have. And if you really take the time to list out 50 or 100 of your potential friends, family, ex-coworkers, put your Gmail links in there and start really brainstorming, you'd be really surprised that you're probably 1 or 2 degrees of freedom away from some really big influencers. Does that make sense? All right. My case in point was Dorian Yates, the biggest guest I've ever had on London Real, probably solely responsible for 5 or 10 million of my views, right? Just Dorian alone. We booked him by a London Real intern who was working for free, who I can barely remember his name. He said, Brian, I just went up to Birmingham and lifted with this guy named Dorian. Would you like me to introduce you to him? And I was like, yeah, I'm actually really busy right now on Facebook, posting my latest episode on all of my friends' walls. They all hate me right now. But yeah, okay, fine. And he introduced me to Dorian, and that's how the show happened. That is the epitome of a weak link, folks. The epitome of a weak link. And this happens again and again and again and again on London Real. But it's because he knew what I was doing and knew that he could help. So you have to kind of reach out or let these people know that you're looking for help. You're looking to build the business. Does anyone know someone that could introduce me to someone in the XXX industry? And if you can reach out to those people, it's those weak links that can really make things happen. And so that's why it's really worth going through all of these things and trying to see where they might be able to fit in the puzzle. Usually these people are more than happy to help you. Does that make sense? Yeah? And usually if you have a great 3-part video series and a free product, they'll be really happy to promote that and forward that on to other people. So it's really important that we're doing that. And the funny thing is that also, I later got Dorian Yates on the Tim Ferriss podcast, which of course is massive. And that all happened because of another kind of a weird link, because Tim had been on my show, and then Tim saw I did a movie with Dorian, and Tim sent me an email right when he saw the Dorian film premiere, and he said, Brian, can you introduce me to Dorian Yates? And I was like, okay, you're Tim Ferriss. I would guess you could find anyone's contact info. He's like, no, Brian, he won't return my emails. And that's like Dorian. Dorian won't. He just doesn't care. And so I contacted Dorian. I said, there's this guy named Tim. He said, who? I said, you should do his podcast. He said, I don't really feel like it. I said, you probably should. It'll probably help you. And I hooked them up and it happened. But that was all because of these weak link ties. You know, I'm sure Tim Ferriss never thought he'd be reaching out to me and asking me a favor, but he did. So this is just some of this massive network of weak links that make the whole world go around and that constantly launch leads. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, good. I want to talk about a couple other ways that you can reach out to influencers and gatekeepers and people that can really make things happen for your business. The one I want to talk about is blogging, all right? Again, you use blogs as a tool to show you as a key person of influence, right? You've all written a blog and you probably were pretty happy with the results or the way it made you feel, or probably let people know that you were serious about your business. It's a great thing to use. When you write one for me, it's also going to be sent out to 140,000 people, and they're going to see, okay, who's this person? Well, first of all, Brian's retweeting something they wrote. They're writing a blog on Medium, which right away actually gives you authority. And they're going to be talking about something that happened to you and how you built a business around your passion and links to that site. Already, that's going to be a great tool to reach out to a bunch of people you've never met, right? Potential JV partners. That's one of them. I wrote a blog about my castle experience with Dan Pena when I came back, right? I had all these crazy ideas in my head. I took the train down from Scotland. I spent 6 hours on it. I actually rewrote it again. And I just wanted to get all of my thoughts into one piece. That blog is probably given the $50 billion man, like, I don't even want to think about it, at least $500,000 worth of business, maybe more. I always joke about him that I own part of his one wing of his castle, because that thing gave him so much promotion. He constantly promotes it. He's constantly promoting it. You go to his website, he's got links to all of his London Real episodes, a link to the blog, everything. So he's constantly promoting London Real for me because I wrote that blog. So that can be an evergreen tool to constantly get you leads. So again, think about the strategic blogs that you could write in places that will get you leads. The most obvious thing is to reach out to media sources that are in your micro niche. How many people know the really popular blogs in your micro niche, or the influencers in your micro niche? Well, what you need to do is just try to find out those publications, those big accounts, maybe on Instagram or these other places that talk about your micro niche, and think about writing a blog for them, right? You can reach out to them and say, look, I'd love to write something for you. My name's Katrina. I'm a specialist in this subject. I run this business. I would love to write something about my passion, which is this. Here are 3 topics I can write about. If you say yes, I can have 500 words to you within the next 4 days. And they'll be like, okay, great. I would love to do that. I'll do that. I'll put your link in there. It's an amazing way to do kind of a partial JV, right? You're going to use their platform. They're probably going to tweet it out and put it on their Instagram. Everyone's going to see your name. It's just going to jack you up. Then you can take their publication and stick it as social proof on the front of your website. You can stick it on your webinar page or your webinar link. It's a perfect way to start building influence through those network ties. So just start thinking of the right things to do. And the final thing I want you to think about is this concept of gatekeepers. How many people know what a gatekeeper is? Who can define that for me? Anybody? Katrina, why don't you tell me, what is a gatekeeper?
It's someone who's not so famous but has access to the influencers or the people that you want to get in contact with.
Yeah, great example. Does anyone know people that are gatekeepers potentially in their industry? Put that hand up. It might take a little bit of research because it's not going to be the ones that are obvious on social media. My perfect example of a great gatekeeper is Scott Coker. Does anyone know who Scott Coker is? He's actually the CEO of Bellator, which is one of the competitors of the UFC. And he himself isn't as famous as Dana White, who's the CEO of the UFC, who's got millions of Twitter followers, but he controls all of those fighters. And so I had him on the show, and he came on, and we did an amazing show with him. He's actually a really fascinating guy. He gave me front row tickets to all of the fights. Thank you very much, Scott. But more importantly, he started funneling me all of his great fighters. And I mean, and to this day, I got access to fighters that no one else has had access to, because when they came to town for the fights, Scott said, go to London Real. And they're like, who? I don't want to. And they're like, well, you're in town. I need you to promote Bellator. Go on London Real. I got Derek Chisora, who's a really famous heavyweight boxer here in the UK, who can be a really mean and nasty guy. He's known for throwing desks at people in press conferences, throwing them at people. And we got him on the show. It was amazing. And we got some other incredible guests on the show as well. Rory McDonald, a huge UFC fighter that went to Bellator. We got probably 500,000 views off of his, maybe even 1 million views off of his thing alone. That was all because of Scott Coker. He is the gatekeeper. So Scott himself probably has 75,000 Twitter followers, but the network he gave me access to is potentially millions of dollars of business. So I invite him on, really cool with him. He sees the value of the platform and he just starts feeding me fighters. Sometimes I don't even ask. And he just says, hey, Brian, this person's coming in town. You want him on the show? Yes, 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 yes. And it just fills things up just because I put a little bit of legwork in. So you'll get to know these people as you get to the industry. Definitely make friends with them, and definitely think about how you can reach out to them and promote them, okay? So get to know that network. I know it's going to take time. I know it's a little tedious, but it's worth going through every one of your contacts and putting them down in a spreadsheet. Like Merle, for example, it's probably worth you going through a lot of those WhatsApp contacts and putting them down in the sheet and starting to see, okay, what could this person do? Some of them bought the course. Is there a trend here? What are some other things I can ask? Can I send them all a link? That's something that you can do. So already be thinking about doing this. Again, your first JV will probably 10x your reach. It's better than all of the social media posts and all of the other emails that you'll send. So really work on getting those first few, and it'll game change everything. All right. I basically do a JV every week. Does that make sense? Right? I have a guest on, I do a show with them, and then I publish it to the world, and the guest promotes the heck out of it on their Twitter and Instagram and all of that stuff. And they endorse me as a show, and we promote together and promote together. Sometimes we actually go ahead and offer a product out to their list and do an official JV. But in the meantime, it's constantly working for me. And it's like a blog you write for London Real. It'll constantly be tweeted out and constantly getting you leads. My shows constantly generate leads when I'm asleep. When I die, it'll all just keep happening because it's digital assets that are out there. Okay. Let's talk about your outreach methods. How many people in here know how to reach out to an influencer? Let me see some hands. How many people have done it before or have a decent idea? Helen, how would you reach out to an influencer? Or San, either one of you?
I mean, I would, drop the name of the person who would have connected us, and then quickly get to the value, what's important for them and what it means for them. So, I'm a believer of picking up the phone and getting access, and then following up a couple of different ways as well.
Yeah. Okay, good. That's very good, Helen. I mean, look, the phone these days shows that you're at least hustling, right? Because most people are frightened of the phone, so that can help you. Certain contacts are going to be hard to contact direct. For example, Tony Robbins, we're still working on getting him on the show. I can't really pick up the phone and call Tony, right? He's just hard to get to. So I have to use other routes and other influencers. Sometimes a warm introduction is really necessary, but sometimes it's not. Honestly, Instagram these days is one of the quickest ways to get yourself in front of someone's face really quickly. And right on Instagram, when you're following someone, it'll say message. And right now, one of our guest bookers here uses that a lot. They do direct contact. So that's something that's really important. Helen said something really important as far as how to lead off with those things. And I want to talk about it. San, can you give me some of your thoughts on how you would reach out to influencers either in a direct or indirect way?
Yeah, I think it's just what I did is more go to more like the gatekeeper. So so what I do is more into therapy. So my biggest influence for my audience is Steel Swan, and what I did, I reached out to like her best therapist first for therapy myself, and then we actually became kind of friends while Skyping and everything. So I think also now, instead of calling, I think Skype is always a good way to kind of initiate just a short Skype conversation of 50 minutes, something like that. Can also be a good way.
Yeah, definitely. If you can get that face-to-face contact, it's really important, and explain what they're doing. So look, those are good points, Sam. What I will say to all of you is don't be afraid to make direct contact. Most of the times you underestimate your worth, and most people are too afraid to contact these people. So go ahead and try to make direct contact. If it's not happening, then I would say go to a warm lead or some type of connector. And again, and Helen said this too, make sure you lead with reward. All right, I'll say that one more time. Lead with reward. Keep it very simple and let them know the reason that they should do this. I can't tell you how many emails I get that say, Brian, can I buy you a coffee? I kid you not. I also get emails from people that say, Brian, I would love to work with London Real because it would help me get to the next level in my career. It would help me learn about broadcasting. It would help me learn more about the video game. Would you like to meet? What do you think I say? No, I don't want a coffee from you, right? Every 5 minutes of my time is super valuable. And so don't make that mistake. Always lead with reward for them. I would even go far as to put in the subject line, want to make $2,000. Now, that might be too much, but I would get to it right away. Hi, my name is Helen Collier. Hi, my name is Sam. This is my business. I actually run a highly profitable webinar with, blah, 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 blah. I would love to make $5,000 with you. Would you be interested in a call? We can set this up. I have a funnel and a proven digital product. Here's my Skype and here's my Calendly. Can we set up 15 minutes? It could be something as simple as that. Introduce yourself, maybe give yourself some social proof. I used to do this, I used to do that. I'm a leader in my field. I would really love to talk to you about making some money together. You have a tremendous amount of influencers, and I'd love to give you a very generous 50-50 split. Would you like to talk? I'm telling you, these people rarely get offers to make a couple $1,000s with very little effort, and they will say yes. Does that make sense? Because most of the people out there with 100,000 Instagram followers, and trust me, that's a captive audience, right? Instagram, as you know, is hard to hack, right? If you're out there, you've got people watching you, but most people don't have any business associated with that whatsoever. If you show them a real possibility of revenues and maybe even doing these once a month, you could potentially promise them an extra 25 grand a year. Trust me, they will pick up your call, all right? So again, lead with reward, make it short. Tim Ferriss used to say a great email should be 3 lines long. That might be a bit extreme, but I should be able to read it on my smartphone in its entirety. Who has ever got a really long 3-page email? Raise your hand. Anyone got a 3-page email from someone? Hold those hands up. Yeah, Dragos, tell me, how did it make you feel when you got that 3-page email?
I saw it and I was like, I am not gonna read this.
And why? Why?
I know, like, my time is valuable, so I was like, I'm not gonna spend that much time. Like, it's give me what I need and that's all. Like, I don't want extra details.
Yeah, it does one other thing as well. Does a really important person spend the time to write you a 3-page email, Dragos? No. Do they? No, they just don't. Honestly, it actually lowers your value when you write too much. And it's always the case. And it's funny, if you ever look at, I used to have buddies that used to show me their text conversations with women they just met. And I'm looking at the text conversation. And if you can tell, who's ever writing the most text is in the least powerful situation, right? And that's just the way it is. So remember that. The more words you're trying to say in there and another thing and another thing and another thing, you're actually just decreasing your value. So just remember to keep it short, lead with reward, and that's really, really important to do, all right? Does that make sense for people? So when you're reaching out to influencers, keep it short, keep it sweet with what's going on. Make sure, of course, you don't do the things I talk about. no coffee, no coffees, no things like that. As Dan Pena would say, and he says this to me over and over again, when value is clear, decisions are easy. I hate to hear it when he says this. He says, Brian, when values are clear, decisions are easy. You know what that is? That's a nice way of saying, Brian, your offer sucks, right? That's what he's saying, right? And so you need to make it so obvious to them that they just say yes, yes, yes. So again, lead with reward, give them high revenue shares. Chris is talking about really powerful influencers, giving them a 75% revenue share. Look, whatever it takes to get the ball rolling. You start telling people that you're JVing with somebody with the 500,000 Instagram followers, the next one is going to be a piece of cake. So always remember, you're trading up with this influence. All right. Let me tell you 2 other stories of how I contact people, because I want you to be able to use these things. How many people know who Ryan Holiday is? He's got a great book called The Ego is the Enemy and The Obstacle is the Way. He's a great writer. And one of the ways he contacted an influencer was by writing a blog about them without ever knowing who they were. And it's a lot like what hopefully you're going to write for London Real, but say you didn't know me. So say you wanted to get in touch with, say, Dan Pena, and you were like, he's not calling me back, he's not picking me up, Jocko's not calling me back, I'm not going to go. Tell you what, I'm going to write the most amazing review of the Jocko podcast, or the most amazing review of Dan Pena, the $50 billion man movie. And I'm just going to write this great piece of content that will tell the world that they should go see this thing. And I'm going to take the time and just put it out there. Well, this is what Ryan Holiday did when he wanted to get in touch with Tucker Max, which at the time became his mentor, who later taught him so many things about internet marketing and copywriting. He went ahead and just wrote this article and put it out there. Tucker found him and said, look, who are you, by the way? That was a really incredible article. He's like, well, I do this, I do this. And he's like, okay, how would you like to work together? So again, it can be an incredible way to reach out to an influencer. I'm shocked by the few number of people that actually do this with London Real. Everyone wants to send me an email and buy me coffee. No one wants to spend an hour of their time and write an article on Medium that does some review of London Real. If I saw that tweeted to me or posted on Facebook and I looked into it and read it, I would probably call that person and offer him a job as a copywriter. But nobody does it, okay? So you can all rise to the top by doing that. All it takes is you're going to say, okay, I'm going to spend a little bit of time. I'm going to write a great piece of content and I'm going to throw it out there. And it's an incredible way to get through to influencers, an absolutely incredible way. So just keep that in mind as a great tactic, all right? And the final way, and this is something that kind of Helen was talking about, I'll tell you the story of how I actually booked Tim Ferriss for the show. And I might have mentioned this before, but it's through something I call triangulation. So I had already tried to get a hold of Tim Ferriss direct, and I was having a really, really hard time with it. And so I knew that Jordan Harbinger, the guy that does the Art of Charm podcast, had interviewed Ferriss. And I had interviewed Jordan Harbinger back in the day when I was on the Rogan show. So I reached out to Jordan and say, hey, Tim's coming through London. Again, lead with reward. Tim's coming through London. He can be on my podcast. I'm going to sell more books for him. It's a no-brainer. And he's like, yeah, okay, I can take that to him. And he sent that to him, introduced me to his personal assistant who set up the interview with Tim. But the final piece is it wasn't happening at the end. And so at the last minute, I hit Tim on social media and I said, Tim, I said, I'm in touch with your personal assistant's name. And she had some funny name like Rheingold or something like that I couldn't make up. I said, we're ready for you in London. I just need you to pull the trigger and we're going to promote the heck out of the 4-Hour Chef. Within 40 minutes, his PA replied and said, okay, Tim is in. Because I had used social media to remind that influencer that I was something important. So these are all tactics you can use. You can write the blog about them. You can tweet to them. You can do a cold email. When you start hitting multiple sources up and hit them from different ends, trust me, they will notice. Okay? Does this make sense? This stuff really works because most people don't bother. They send a tweet and they give up. They send an email, which is 3 pages long, which talks about coffee and the advancement of their careers, and they give up, right? Or they ask a warm lead and then they give up. Very few does people do it 3 times. I'm telling you, after a while, you can't ignore them anymore. And sooner or later, they will say, okay, let's have a conversation. And the same is true here. So use all of these tactics for you and use those to go ahead and reach out and contact people. I can't overestimate the power of that. All right? Get out there, get these lists of people and make these JVs. London Real would never have grown if I wasn't doing these JVs every single week. All of my movies are JVs as well. They've taken us to the next level, and all businesses should do them. I want to finish with this concept of your complete business success blueprint, okay? And I want to walk you through exactly what I'm talking about here. We've just spent the whole time setting up your infrastructure. We've got your audience through all of your social media reaches, including now when I retweet you, a whole nother social media reach. We've got the people that come to your website, the people that sign up for your email, and the people that bought from your webinar. How many people can tell me they can find out what those numbers are? Can I see thumbs up? Can you figure that out? Christoph, you can't? Faisal, you can't? Okay, so Squarespace gives basic metrics. MailChimp will tell you how many people signed up. Squarespace will tell me how many people visited, and your audience you can calculate from the number of followers you have on social media, the number of people that have contacted you through a repost or something like that. That is your audience. I want you to write down those funnel numbers this week and let me know what they are. It's really important. Say, for example, you've got 1,000 people that you're reaching on social media. Say, for example, you find out that 100 of those people have come to your website. And then from there, only 10 people have signed up for your email, and then you sold 1 sale on your webinar. What would that tell you? Does anyone have an idea of what that might tell me? Anyone? Raise a hand. Anyone know? Yeah, Dragos is raising your hand. Who else? Jonathan? All right, Dragos, what does that funnel tell you?
That you need to improve the website.
Very well said. Yeah, Dragos has got it down, because we've taken 100 people landing on the site and 10 on the email list. That's not a good ratio, right? We should be able to convert 30 to 50% on that landing page. So what does that tell you? That means you have a lousy landing page. Maybe you're sending them to the website and not the landing page. Maybe the value proposition isn't there. Maybe they can't read it. Maybe when they go to do the email, it doesn't actually work. Maybe the 3-part video series isn't clear. So definitely right away, you want to work on that. You want to get that at least up to 30%, if not to 40%. If it's not converting, try to find some people that you can ask about. Maybe take 5 friends and say, here's my landing page. Would you sign up? No, why not? And find out why value isn't clear, which means decisions are not easy, okay? So Dragos, that's a great way. Again, from email to sales, 10 people on your email list, 1 person in sales. Is that good? Well, how many of those emails showed up to your webinar? If 3 showed up and you got 1 sale, I wouldn't say that's too bad. But did you try to sell the other 7 people? Did you hit them up with another one? Did you offer a 15-minute call to sell them the product? There's all the things we can do for this funnel. This is your funnel. This is what you live and die by. Do not spend money on Facebook ads until you've got a funnel that converts. Does that make sense? You should really be able to watch these metrics. So often I see people that have these kind of hacked funnels that actually don't really convert. And they're like, Brian, all I have to do is 10x my audience size and I'll win. It's like, no, you're actually going to waste a lot of time and waste a lot of money. Find out each touch point and find out what's working. Are people bouncing from your social to your website? Are they? Are they converting from website to email? Are they going from email to webinar? If not, the offer isn't good enough. The webinar is not being clear. You're not contacting them the right way. You haven't done a video. You haven't done a picture to get them on there. You're not following up with more emails to get them on the webinar. If you can get this funnel to where you can convert 30 to 40% of your visitors and then get, say, 30 or 40% of those people on your webinars and then start converting your webinars at 30 or 40%, this is a real business. And when you take a JV partner and dump in the audience on the top, this thing will literally make money overnight. So get all this stuff straight. So I'm asking you to put your metrics in. Some of you will not want to see these numbers, right? Trust me. I've looked at London Real numbers before and I do this, right? I do this. I'm like, Julian, those can't be right. And he's like, they're right. And I'm like, that is absolute garbage. And then he's like, yeah, they are. And once I get emotional, I calm down and I'm like, all right, what do we fix it? It's not rocket science, right? A landing page, it's simple. Is it working, right? Is the value prop there? Okay, cool. Are people responding to the emails? Are they even opening the emails? Let's check our subject lines. Maybe they're garbage, right? Are people engaging with the webinar? Maybe not. What's the value prop? Am I leading with reward? Maybe not. Go in. You can also talk to your customers. You can send them an email saying, hey, give me some feedback. Did you like this? Did you not like this? But make sure you know your funnel and you try to get it to where more people convert more and more. You don't want a funnel like this You want one like this. Ideally, where all the people that hit your website buy on your webinar. That's the ultimate funnel, okay? Does that make sense, that concept? Know your numbers. It's more important than anything else. As an entrepreneur, you have to know your numbers, and that's how you're gonna build something that converts. And the other two things I wanna finish on are your product life cycle. So this is the thinking behind building this business the way we teach on the Business Accelerator. Some of you have sold and you've made a few $100s on your sales. So congratulations. For those of you that haven't, do a few more webinars and you will. You'll start out with an audience. You'll take that audience through the product and you'll learn. From there, you will change your product. And after you take these people through one iteration of your low-cost product, you're gonna learn so much. You're gonna already see hints of what your prime product will be. And I'll talk about that right at the end. You're gonna see flaws. You might see that a 6-part product is too much for low cost. You might say, Brian, I'm gonna take 3 of those parts and charge 27, and I'm gonna take the other 3 and I'm gonna turn it into my course for $1,000. Who knows what you're gonna do? But the idea is we take the revenues from each product life cycle and put it back into the business. And also develop bigger products. And this is exactly what we've done at London Real. We've built the audience, which is the way we've done it with you, JV partnerships, social media, a website that converts. You create a product, you take the sales from that product and you build it back into the company. That can be used to reach out to influencers, to build better social media, to hire an assistant to start doing some of this work for you while you go and create more products. The next product you need to create is your prime offering, something you're going to sell between $1,000 and $5,000. That should be the next order of business after you fulfill your low-cost product. As soon as you do that, you're going to sell that. Hopefully you'll get 5 people on that course. You're going to take those revenues and invest it back into audience. How can we increase the audience? If your funnel is good, go to Facebook ads. Get more people to the website, more people to buy your next product cycle. Does that make sense? Yeah? You should not need outside capital to create your business. And if it's not working, it means you're not satisfying the customer somewhere in that cycle. And so that's exactly what we do here at London Real. We built the product London Real Academy, which created the Business Accelerator. We took those revenues and I created a bigger audience. In my case, I invested in a studio. I built a better studio, which got me more of an audience in the top of the funnel, which means more people bought my courses, the Life Accelerator. After that, we invested that money in making movies, right? We invested in documentary films. We put those out. Again, more people landed on our website, pure and simple. More people gave us their email address, pure and simple. We get about 3,000 to 4,000 new email addresses a week just because of our content that's out there. I take those people, we sell them programs, and we invest it back into the business, and it grows and it grows and it grows. This is the cycle I want you to get comfortable with. And finally, I want to talk about the product ecosystem. As you know, all successful businesses need products of different price points. You've got your free product. You've got your low-cost product. Now is the time to start brainstorming on your prime product. The truth about your prime product is it's not rocket science. When you take people through these 6 modules of your low-cost product, you're going to start to realize some people love this module. Some people want more of this. Some people want less of this. Some people want private tuition when it comes to this. It should start to become very obvious what people are willing to pay more for more results. And the truth is your prime product is just your low-cost product, for lack of a better term, on steroids. That's all it is. It's more accountability, more touch points, more detailed videos, more of an experience. Sure, some people have said, Brian, can I do a live event? Yes, you can. It could be a live event, it could be a retreat, or it could just be a more detailed digital product. And right now you're like, well, Brian, but what is it? What is it? When you take people through your low-cost product, it will start becoming very obvious. And at the end of it, you can even ask each person, tell me, what would you like to continue learning? What would be a more advanced version of this course? And start asking those questions. It will become immediately obvious. And it's very possible that you have priced your low-cost product too low. It's very possible that your low-cost product will even turn into your prime offering. Does that make sense for some people? Yeah? So, you know, Katrina, your low-cost product in 6 parts. Right now, it's 6 videos, and it's an email for each video, and it might be a Facebook group where people can say hi. Great. Well, what if people really love that? What if you now did what we do? Each module is 3 videos, right? Each module, now they have an assignment to do. They have to upload to the Facebook group. All of a sudden, this starts becoming something real, something that someone will pay $1,000 for, $2,000 for. So it's all about taking that product to the next level. That's what the Prime offering is all about. And that is where you need to start before you're ready, right? Because most of people are going to say, wow, this is really next level. I've got to do a few more low-cost product cycles before I graduate to the big one. But the truth is, you really need to get in there and try that before anything happens. Some of you have already sold Prime offerings. Susan sold one on her second webinar after her first one was a total failure, right? Because someone said, I want more. And she had to be like, oh, okay, well, I can give you this. I'll take it. And again, I was completely nervous the first time I started with my Prime offering. I should have done it 2 years earlier, but it was my own fear that kept me from doing it. So push into that. So these are the main concepts that I want you to get on this module. The last part is I want you to schedule out your next 6 months, which means I want you to go ahead and really fill out these forms that we've asked. It's a reflection form. It's really asking you to go on this 3-hour no media walk. I know it seems like a lot. Go for this workout beforehand. That's where I get my best ideas, and really visualize, where do you want your business to be in 6 months? What do you want to be doing? And then break it down into monthly goals and tell your team at the end of the week, guys, this is where I'm going to be in a month. I'm going to have reached out to 3 JV partners. I'm going to have done 1 JV webinar. I will have increased the people landing on my website by 5x. And these are my metrics that I'm going to stick to. And I'm going to tell you all in the call in 30 days whether I got there or not. This is how we move forward. What gets measured gets accomplished. Have your metrics. Keep it simple. Revenues should be a big metric, right? Email lists, very big metric, right? And maybe even, revenues is buyers of your product. Email lists, those are big ones for me, right? Social media reach you can work on. But honestly, if you're doing the right JV partners, the emails and the revenues will really tell you you're doing it. So put goals, make them reasonable, and just make those happen. And that's what we're going to have you doing on the road ahead. Don't lose the momentum from this course is what I want to finally say. All right. You've got all this structured. You can take this forward. And I want to say on Sunday a few last words when it comes to trying to keep the momentum. So look, this week, there's quite a bit to do, but this is the time to do it. So get that webinar done. Write me this blog, please. Get in there and look at your numbers. Look at what they are. Think about some of these influencers in your group, and even maybe reach out to 3 of them and just see what they say. You'll be amazed and surprised by the reply you get, especially when you lead with reward. All right, folks. So that's it for the call. Let me get a last keynote roar, and let's do this, folks. We've got it in place. Let's finish out this Business Accelerator with a boom. Come on.
Yeah!
We can do it. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it.
We can do it. Still got time to make those revenues. Put them on the accountability doc. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I'll see you on Sunday. All right. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. All right. Love you guys. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Let's go, baby.
Stanford, you gotta say something. You can't be in the hot seat and not say anything.
Cool. All right, guys, catch her. I'm actually running the webinar in 30 minutes, so I'm just going to quickly run and prepare. So see you there if you're around. Gotcha.
Bye. Good luck.
Thank you.
Are you just here to take a role in who the highly committed people are? Amy?
Sorry?
Are you just here taking role of who the highly committed people are who stay after for extra credit?
No. I just like hanging out with you guys.
Does anyone have any info on accommodation for graduation?
In my group, they're all booking Airbnbs together.
Okay.
I'm not going.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, have a good one. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
Parker, great to see you, man. How's it going?
Hey, Martin, I can tell that's you.
No, it's Christopher.
Oh, Christopher? Oh, you sounded like Martin.
Yeah, and we are both German. We are both the same.
Okay, okay. What's up, man?
Man, I always happy to see you, man. I always see the sun shining in your background. You remind me of California, man. How's it going? Did you move forward?
Dude, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, man, you look good.
Yeah. Yeah, I got through it. It was a rough thing, and I'm sure I didn't realize I wasn't alone. I thought I was alone going through it, but I realized everyone was going through their own stuff. And so, what clarity, like what a transformation, what a life-changing few weeks we've had. Like, I just can't even believe it. It's amazing. I can believe it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was so transformative. It's, yeah. Tough, but awesome. You know, you have. I think I really have a better feeling. I'm moving forward. The picture is much clearer than before the course started and everything. It's great. The community, and especially I love you guys, man. I love the community, and yeah, it's just awesome.
Mark, I saw you on my Facebook Live. Thanks for reminding me about. I was coming. I was late. Did you? So anyway, I saw your comment later. That was funny.
Yeah, I thought you got lost in your Facebook Live.
You felt like I got lost in it?
Yeah, you were having such a good time. I thought I better remind them. But,
Oh yeah, dude, I love that you watched it, man. Thank you.
No problem. I enjoyed
That
it.
Thriver thing is it's kind of the movement that's getting created out of broadcast yourself and business and life. I did all of them, you know. So it's what's gotten created out of all of them. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Anybody stuck?
No, it's all right.
All right. What do you mean?
I think it's quite a lot to do this week. So a bit of resistance coming up, but I go through it step by step, you know. Just one step at a time, one little check at a time, and then you see the progress, and it's motivating. Parker, are you going to be in London?
Yes.
Really cool, man. It's awesome.
Yeah. Are you?
Yes.
Are you?
I'm excited.
Yeah. Oh.
All right, guys. I'm about to move out. I'm about to leave and get going. And I wish you a great night and great week. Let's do this. Go for it. See ya.
How's Bob doing? Mr. Hand, how are you? Can't hear you, Bob.
Now you can hear me. I missed the schedule because I've been used to getting on here at 4 o'clock for our meeting in Brazil, and we've changed. The time has changed, and so I'm coming at 4 o'clock, and it's all over. How you guys?
Hanging in there, Bob.
Hi, Katrina.
Hi.
Was that your granddaughter, Katrina?
No, that's my daughter. That's my youngest.
Okay.
My oldest is 38. My youngest is 8.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Good meeting today?
Very good. Excellent.
Make sure you watch the recording, Bob. There was so much information in it.
Yeah, I will. I'll check it out for sure.
I was trying to take notes the whole time, but he was talking so fast.
It's hard. It's hard for me to take notes. I don't write very quickly.
Yeah. I don't know. It's exciting stuff. It just seems like there is no limit to just how big you can grow this if you can contact the right people, and if you can just keep building that business step by step. You know, keep touching more people.
Yeah, I keep wondering. I agree with what you just said, and I believe what he's been teaching us. However, I keep wondering if there's only two speeds to making this kind of a business work. Stop and go full speed ahead. Because I know that I'm not interested in being a hustler all of my life. And if that's the only thing that works well in a business of this type, I'm not sure I'm ready to go into it. On the other hand, you know, if I can do it on my own pace, then I'm excited about it.
I think you can, Bob. I think you can.
Yeah. I hope so.
Of course you can. Maybe just be a bit slower, but you can go at your pace.
Yeah,
Just
because
go slowly.
So you know, I use if I were in the United States, I would be surely working more hard to grow this business because it costs more to live there.
Yeah.
I'm in Brazil, and truly the cost of living here is about half what it would be in the United States.
Okay.
So,
I'm going to leave you because I'm going to join my team chat now.
Okay.
Oh, I just saw that link in Facebook. I'm on the same team as Katrina. And you too, Ashley. Don't you miss it.
And you, Parker, you coming?
Yeah, I'll join you now.
And Parker, are you coming? Okay, see you, Bob.
I'll see you guys later.
All right, Bob, great talking to you. Look after yourself.
You too.
Parker, we're moving on to our